Welcome everyone to the best villains for the MCU Spider-Man, and I am joined by a very special guest. Many of you may already know him. He is Venom2000000.
Who's that?
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by.
It's Venom.
Who?
No, I'm playing. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Venom. I'm here with BanditIncorporated.
So great to actually have you on. I've been like cyber stalking you for ages.
Dude.
With my anonymous accounts, I've been following you, watching you for ages, man.
And I didn't have anonymous accounts, but I've been watching you for I don't even know how long. I told my friends about you. Man, I'm freaking out right now. I'm still freaking out, but it's cool. It's cool. I have some orange juice here, so whenever my mouth becomes a little bit dry from excitement, I get to take a sip. So,
well, you've been like super busy because your channel, for those who don't know, is solely focused on Spider-Man. And you, I'm going to link a video in case people don't believe me, but you actually called this entire event ages back.
Yeah.
I think it was like it was maybe 6 months ago or like ages back. You did a video and you outlined everything about this is the kind of deal I think they're going to have. This is why I think it's going to happen, and you were right. It all happened exactly as you said, man.
Yeah. I've been kind of on a roll because I predicted the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the entire plot.
Yeah.
About I think when they first announced it, I predicted it. I was like, well, this is what. No, actually, I predicted it when the Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out. After I predicted, well, this is what they're probably going to do for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I outlined everything, and they did that exactly. And so I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I should play the lottery or something. I don't know.
Well, this is great because you've got your theory on what kind of villains they're going to have next. So based off your track record, that's probably what's going to happen.
that would be great, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let's talk about the first thing your last or one of your recent videos you talked about this like MCU Spider-Man coming in. You had some great ideas about the first couple of villains that he would be facing being street level and being Hammerhead and, well, hang on, I'll let you tell it.
So I was thinking that they would have street level villains all connected to perhaps Daredevil and the Defenders. And we know in the Daredevil show, we have Kingpin in there. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking that perhaps they would connect Spider-Man in that way, with him being with the Defenders and fighting Kingpin, or fighting characters that are members of mafias or gangs like Hammerhead, maybe Herman Schultz, who, for those that don't know, is the Shocker, and then connecting that with Kingpin, and later down the line connecting Kingpin with Norman Osborn and stuff like that.
I like the idea of that. And you also said, like, if he's only been Spider-Man for like 6 months and he's going after this gang because he suspects that one of them is the one who killed his Uncle Ben.
Right.
I absolutely love that, and it would really explain why he hasn't shown up in the superhero radar yet, because he's only been out for 6 months and he's been focused on street level. Yeah, because the Avengers don't really deal with street level. They deal with like planetary threats and Hydra
planetary
and stuff like
things, freaking gods coming down, destroying everybody, and
you don't see Thor like stopping a mugger or something.
No, you never see that. Never, ever. And I think like they have such a great opportunity for us to like see that with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is a character that is supposed to save people in the city. And I think, and in the movies, we've seen bits and pieces of that, but mostly it's this giant lizard going around, or it's this guy robbing the bank, like stuff like it'll be kind of interesting to actually see things scale back a little bit and see Spider-Man actually fighting crime.
Yeah. So how would you think though? Like, how would that fit in? Because it's like MCU Spider-Man's for the movies. Daredevil's got his Netflix. So would you imagine that he'd be sort of in both? Or they just link them together for the movie? Or
I would imagine that, I think in the Civil War film, they're going to introduce Daredevil within, like, we're going to see Daredevil in that film. I think we're going to see all of the characters that we're seeing in these Netflix shows in the Civil War film, along with Spider-Man. And I think that
it's very possible, yeah. Especially with Daredevil, since like they're putting like $3 million per episode, like $3 million into every episode, so they want it to look at movie standards. So there's a pretty good chance that they will at least put him in the background or something.
Yeah, and I think that after you do the Civil War film with all of these characters there, then you branch off to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man will be that link between the Netflix shows, or along with Civil War, but Spider-Man will be that direct link between the Netflix shows and the films, because Spider-Man is going to be on that same level with him being in New York, first off, and then him being in the same universe as these other characters. I feel as if like it's almost a no-brainer to include Daredevil and them in there, especially with him being a street level hero and being in the same environment. And that would be like advertising for the Netflix shows and for future Netflix shows, because I don't think it's gonna stop like after this year. I think we're gonna have these shows coming for a while, especially with them saying that we're gonna have Daredevil, the Jessica Drew, is her name Jessica? No, Jessica Jones show, Luke Cage, the Iron Fist, and then these shows are gonna then lead up to this one big show called The Defenders with all of these characters together in New York, you know, fighting crime. I think that you could incorporate Spider-Man in there and bring that to the big screen as well. Like, I think there's so many possibilities and so many different ways they could go.
Yeah, because I mean, when you really think about it, with like all the DC shows, like Arrow's its own thing, Flash is its own thing. I mean, they cross over, but there's nothing to do with the movies with them. With Marvel's TV shows, they've made a real effort of incorporating that into the movie universe. You know, like you see Sif in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's very much established that it is the one universe. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't get Spider-Man fighting Kingpin or Daredevil showing up in Civil War, and it'd be a great introduction for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And you know what I like about it is we'd be able to see Spider-Man facing new villains. We don't have to see Green Goblin again. We don't have to see Dr. Octopus again. Nothing wrong with Dr. Octopus, but, you know, it's like a lot of the Spider-Man movies feel like the same old. And he's got a big enough rogues gallery that there's no reason that you need to keep recycling the Green Goblin over and over again. You know, you can have him fight anyone else. And especially now that, I mean, it's very difficult. The news seems to change with each day. But, like, in the previous video, it didn't seem like Sony was still going to retain their own universe. But now it's been announced that they are going to retain their own universe. So odds are Marvel's going to bring in villains that we haven't seen used before in the previous movies. So that's why we're thinking, yeah, Kingpin, Hammerhead, or the next one that we got, which is Venom. And yes, we did see Venom in Spider-Man 3. But we've never seen...
What's that movie? There's a Spider-Man 3? What?
Never heard of it before.
Never heard of that. Whoa!
But you know, I heard the rumor being is that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to introduce the Venom symbiote, and that like maybe the post-credit scene will be, you see that getting flung to Earth. So then Spider-Man will be facing Venom in either the 2017 or the one after that, which I think is really interesting because apparently in the current Guardians of the Galaxy comic, the dude who has the Venom symbiote at the moment is with Guardians of the Galaxy, so he's out in space. And of course, we don't know where the symbiote comes from, but when he's out in space, there are other aliens who recognize it, and they're like, whoa! Do you even know what that thing is you've got on you?
Yeah.
And he's like, not really, but I got it under control. And they're like, man, you shouldn't be wearing that. So I just love that whole idea of seeing sort of where it comes from.
Yeah, and that's something, I thought about that when, I believe it was a few months back when they first announced that in the comics, they were going to be going over the origin of the symbiotes. And I believe like they said something about the symbiotes are a race that they're not psychotic. They don't become psychotic until one of them gets separated from the whole race of them. And that's when, like, whenever a symbiote is isolated from the rest of its, I don't want to say people, but goopy things, then it becomes crazy. So like I feel like they could really, if they don't introduce, or at least hint at the symbiotes in Guardians of the Galaxy, like, what you doing? What you doing?
But also because the symbiote needs a host, so if they're like a species or a kind of their own, then there must also be their host race that they typically bond with, you know? I wonder what they'd look like.
I don't know. I think I'm trying to think about. It was a picture that I saw, and it was like all of them looking crazy. I think they're just like long, gooey beings or creatures that just look crazy. I don't know if they have. I don't think they have hosts actually on their planet. I think they're just their own beings. I'm not sure. I don't know.
So let me ask you this: so Spider-Man was to face a Venom or a new Venom, a real Venom, what kind of character would you want? Because he's typically sort of a jock bully sort of type of guy that gets a symbiote, isn't he? So you're the Spider-Man expert here, not me.
Yeah, in the comics, he's like a he's his story, Eddie Brock's story, is actually kind of messed up. His I believe his wife or girlfriend leaves him, and he begins to work out because of this, because of him going into depression for his girlfriend leaving him, and he becomes angry and just hateful. I don't remember exactly the story, but I think it's tied to Spider-Man or something like that. But I know he becomes angry and hateful towards Spider-Man, and he's there when Peter takes off the symbiote suit and it gets onto him. But I feel like in the films, what they could do something, because I do think they're gonna have like this younger Peter Parker. I think that what they could do is have Eddie Brock be, like a kind of like a brother figure towards Peter, and have Eddie Brock have this have him be buff and be like a cool dude, and have him buff, but also have him be kind of mysterious almost, and something would lead him to becoming Venom. I think that you can't, in my opinion, I think that if they are going to do Venom, that they shouldn't have him be the first villain out the gate. I think Eddie Brock should be a character that we should, like see progress, like become a friend, and then be like have something terrible happen to him, which makes him angry or sad or whatever, and then lead that to the symbiote. Because I feel like Peter Parker should have the black suit first, or at least have the symbiote on him at first. So I think like Venom should be a character that you kind of lead onto.
I'm really
maybe
excited
the second
to see a Venom. I just love the idea
of
Venom.
Venom could be like, if they do him well, like have him be this real brooding, crazy, scary dude. Like, man, Venom. I love Venom. That's why I named myself Venom2000000, because I just love the character so much, and he's so different. Like, I feel like they have this opportunity now with this whole new slate, this whole new franchise. They have this opportunity to, like you said, do villains that we haven't seen, and do Venom correctly. Like, they can do Venom correctly, give him justice, Well,
another villain that I saw just with a light bit of research I did was Kraven the Hunter, who seemed quite interesting, because from what I can see with Kraven the Hunter, what's interesting about his story is he does what very few villains do, which is he actually defeats Spider-Man. Not by killing him, but by hitting him with a dart and putting him in a coma. And he then puts on the Spider-Man suit and tries to be Spider-Man for a while. But it's a story of you can't just be Spider-Man by putting on the suit. You need to be a certain kind of person, and it really gets down to exactly who Spider-Man is. That sounds interesting. Probably couldn't do it for the 2017 one.
No.
Probably need to save it for the one after that. But that sounds really good to me.
That could be very interesting too. The movie start off and you see like this big dude in the Spider-Man suit running, like trying to web swing but can't web swing, and he takes off he's talking, he has this Russian accent. He takes off the mask, and it's like this older man, and he's Kraven, and the whole audience is just looking like, that's not Spider-Man. Wait, what happened to Peter? That could be really interesting. But I really do like Kraven.
Yeah.
I really want Kraven in the films. I'm trying to figure out how would you do that? I guess one way is to
I think it'd be good if you had Kraven the Hunter doing his thing, but if you also wove into it Chameleon, and how Chameleon does this whole elaborate scheme to sort of mess with Peter's head, where he builds robots that look like his parents, sort of pretending his parents have come back from the dead to sort of mess with Spider-Man's head. If you combined that with Kraven the Hunter defeating him, that'd kind of be like the Dark Knight of Spider-Man. Where he's just I'm going insane.
That would be nuts. Would you want Kraven to become put on the Spider-Man suit and try to be Spider-Man?
Yeah, because that's the part about like when I was reading about it, that was the part that really caught my interest, that it gets into what it is that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man, more so than any other story, or at least that I know of. So I would absolutely love that. Maybe for a follow-up from the 2017 one. Yeah. Because it'd be too much hey, here's your new Spider-Man, and he's immediately smashed into the ground.
Yeah.
Like Kraven the Hunter, and he's destroyed by Chameleon, and you need to wait a bit.
I think that was that Kraven's Last Hunt? I believe was that the comic?
I think so, yeah.
I think, yeah. Because in that one, I think Spider-Man, he buries him, And then Spider-Man, he had the black suit on. He comes back and he is just mad as you don't know what. He's just so angry, and he goes after him. Yeah, that could be really interesting. But I really like the idea of Craven being in the films, going after Spider-Man. Oh yeah, that could be really good. Well, it's a whole bunch of villains, man. Ooh.
So let's talk about Sony's Sinister Six and all their plans. You
don't like that?
No, it's terrible. I can't believe this is good. So we're gonna have two Spider-Mans at the one time, and they're both gonna be rebooted. Oh, come on, please. So what we could take away from all this is so what we can take away from all this is there will be a Sinister Six movie, but it is going to be set in the Marvel universe. Even though it's made by Sony. Okay, that's
made by Sony.
We got there in the end.
And all of the Spider-Man films are going to be set in the Marvel universe, even though it's made by Sony.
Yeah.
Yep.
that was intense, but I'm glad we sorted it out.
This is my orange juice right here.
You need to hire lawyers to go through all these things so we can understand it. Well, thanks so much, Venom, for being part of the video. It was fantastic to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Bandit. Thank you so much.
And if you want to check out Venom's channel, where he gives you all the inside goss on everything to do with Spider-Man, just click on the annotation here on the screen or on the link you find in the description. I am Bandit, this is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.
Peace out. Now, who would be the villain? Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is going to be a street-leveled hero. He is a street-leveled hero. So we do not need him fighting, especially in this universe, someone that's going to blow up New York. Because if someone was going to blow up New York, with this being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where S.H.I.E.L.D. exists, where Iron Man exists, where Hulk exists, where all these other characters exist, they would get involved. We're not going to do that. Have it this way. Spider-Man is fighting a gang. He's trying to clean up the streets. Why is he fighting a gang? Because his uncle was killed by a member of the gang. What gang would this be? It would be a gang or mafia, and it would be tied to Hammerhead, and Hammerhead would be tied to Kingpin. Have Herman Schultz in there. You could do this really well. Spider-Man trying to avenge his uncle's death, and by doing that, him learning with great power comes great responsibility.